Hey guys, and welcome back to part 2 of the ultimate budget build. In the previous episode, we kicked things off by buying the cheapest supercharged Toyota Aurion TRD in all of Australia for just $5,800. Now, if you haven't seen the condition I bought it in, you'll want to check out the part 1 first. There is a link in description as well as the pop-up on the screen right now. The TRD has over 300,000 kilometers on the clock, and it is a little bit rough around the edges, to say the least. But today the real challenge begins. The main goal for this episode is to take this car and make it road legal. We are planning to get the Roadworthy Certificate so I can finally register the car and put it back on the road. Make sure you stick around to see what it's gonna take to get this TRD back on the road and how much it's gonna cost. I don't think it's gonna be cheap. For those who are not familiar with the process here in Queensland, Australia, a Roadworthy Certificate, it's a basic safety check of a vehicle. It's normally required when you're selling a vehicle or transferring the registration or you're trying to register an unregistered vehicle. Look at this as a basic health check to ensure that the car meets minimal safety standards to be on our roads. During the inspection, a safety inspector is going to check the car, and he's going to be mainly focusing on the safety aspects of the car, like the tire tread, the brakes, whether there is any leaks and what sort of leaks they are and how bad they are, whether there is any impact to any other operation of the car, the windscreen, the lights and all of that. So if there's no problems found during the inspection, obviously the Roadworthy Certificate is issued, and in this case you can go and register your car. If something fails, you basically have 2 weeks to fix the problem. If you fix the problem within 2 weeks, you can do re-inspection for free. If you cannot fix the problem within 2 weeks, you'll have to reorganize the inspection and pay for it again. I know this car has a lot of problems, and reality is that I won't be able to fix all of them at the same time. This car is going to be my daily driver for a long time, and because of that I want to make sure that I focus on one step at a time. Basically, I want to focus on one problem at a time. So to do that, I'm going to have an inspection first. I know the car is not going to pass the roadworthy, but I want to know what the deal breakers are. I personally think there's going to be 2 at least. Basically tires, because you've seen in part 1 the condition of the tires. They're really bad. And I think the second one would be the oil leak. But let's see what the inspector is going to say. So I've just spent $130 on the inspection, and as expected the car has failed the inspection. There is 3 things that the inspector found. 2 of them are the ones that I expected. The very first one is the tires. So the tires are pretty worn out. They first of all, they're different sizes. The tread is really low. They have cracks on the side of the tire, and there's quite a few bubbles as well. So I knew I would need to replace the tires, so that's no dramas. The second one is the oil leak. It's same thing I expected. That's going to be the reason why the Roadworthy Certificate is going to be failed. Basically what I'll need to do, I'll need to clean the area up and see where the oil leak is coming from and assess how bad it is. But also it could be just a very tiny leak, and because no one cleaned it, it looks like it's bigger than it is. But the third one, it's an interesting one. So the third one is there's a problem with the engine mount on the gearbox side. So it looks like the mount is damaged, and one of the bolts that is supposed to fix the mount to the frame of the car, it's not sitting in the place where it needs to be. So I'll try to see what I can do, but I can bend the bolt back so that I can reuse the part if I can. If I cannot, I'll have to buy a new engine mount. But yeah, it is what it is. So the first problem is the easiest to fix. All I need to do is to remove the wheels from the car, take it to a tire place, replace the tires, then bring it back, put it back on the car, then take the car after the roadworthy inspection is passed, take the car to a wheel alignment place, do the wheel alignment, and that's it. I'm not going to show you all that process because it's boring. I don't think it's interesting at all. But as you can see, the tires are in a really bad condition. They have sidewall cracks, sidewall bubbles, the tread is low, the The tires are old as well, and they're also different sizes. So I decided to go ahead with Pirelli Power G. They are $1,400 for 4 tires. Then I'm gonna spend $130 on the wheel alignment, and the first problem is fixed.
They will still stand tall. Things time will tell, we might never know. We'll be gone before it all begins.
The next on the list is an oil leak. For roadworthy, any significant oil leak that could contaminate the environment or impact the safe operation of the vehicle is a failure. Just before I get started, I've done a bit of the research. So this is 2GR FE engine, and based on my findings that those engines have problems with the gaskets for the front engine cover that covers the timing chain, and the main problem is that those gaskets, after some time they start leaking. So that could be problem number one. If I have this problem, it's not good, because normally to replace the gasket you need to actually remove the engine out, because there's just not enough room to work on that. So that's, I hope it's not the problem. Another one is the power steering leak. There's a significant amount of wetness in this area. I don't know whether it's related to the oil leak, because most of the oil is under the engine, where the power steering is, but that could be, hopefully it's just a power steering leak, because it's so much easier to fix. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna remove the wheel, obviously jack up the car, remove the wheel, quickly inspect everything, and I'm gonna give everything a good clean. Then I'm gonna start the car and just keep it running as long as I need until I find out where the oil leak is coming from. As you can see, guys, this is where all the oil is, and I'm hoping that that's the hose that leaks. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove that cover. Well, I can see that previous owner was doing burnouts. Great. I'm going to remove that cover so that I can have access to this area. Then I'm going to give everything a clean here, as well as there. Before I start cleaning, I'm going to disconnect the battery just in case, because I don't know whether all the connectors are sealed properly, and I don't want to just cause any more problems. So yeah, let's remove the cover. I can even see that all of that is worn out, the terminals. I'll need to replace them eventually. Okay guys, as I was washing the engine bay, I found out quite a few things which I want to share with you. So obviously already those terminals for the battery, the positive and negative, need to be replaced. There's also a positive cable that is missing a terminal, so I'll need to replace that. The battery terminal will need to be restored as well. There is a vacuum hose missing. I don't know what that is yet, but I'll find later. Hose seems to have a crack. That hose seems to have a crack. So the ignition coil, the clip seems to be broken. There's a bit of the silicone and oil leak over there. Looks like someone tried to repair it. The exhaust header is missing the cover. It looks like, and I'm not too sure, I need to double check that. It looks like that bolt is missing. Also, the caps for the aircon lines are missing. There's one there and another one there, and both of them are missing. A lot of bolts and screws are different, and more than half of them is missing. There's a massive chunk of the underguard plastic cover is missing. I'm assuming, and you can see there's a lot of, so all of the black stuff, that's actually the rubber. Normally that's the result of the burnout. So I think that the previous owner was doing lots of burnouts, and potentially the tire exploded and broke the cover. Also interesting, if you look that over there, you can see there's a lot of orange sealant. So what I think has happened is when the previous owner was replacing or removing the exhaust pipe for some reason, instead of buying a new gasket, he decided to use lots of sealant. Obviously all of that area has been very contaminated with oil. Oil is really bad for the bushings. You can see there's a rubber here, melted rubber. There is a sensor which I'll need to look up online what that sensor does, but it looks like that plastic cover is broken as well. And it's quite concerning that there is a bit of the blue silicone here. It looks like the bottom end of the engine block was removed for some reason, I don't know which one. And another thing that I've noticed is that there's a few dents in the oil pan. So I'm gonna leave the area for 5-10 minutes just to make sure that the water runs down, and after that I'm gonna inspect the area just to make sure there's no oil residue, so it's all nice and clean. When it's clean, it's so much easier to understand where the leak is coming from, and after that we're gonna start the engine and hopefully gonna capture the leak. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but there's no oil leaks here whatsoever. Especially this area. I'm gonna use some torches here to see where the oil leak is coming from. Okay, I have good and bad news. The good news is I think that I found the source of the leak. The bad news is that it's a bit harder to fix than a leaking pipe or leaking hose. Unfortunately, the valve cover gaskets are leaking because it's a V6 engine, so there's two heads. So both of the valve cover gaskets leaking, the front and rear. The rear leaks more. There's a drop every half an hour. It doesn't leak that bad, and it looked like it was leaking bad just because I don't think anyone cleaned the area. So after some time, the oil built up in the area next to the control arm. So I'm planning to give it a good clean and put it back together. The leak is minor. It barely leaks on anything. It leaks after some time, but I think if I clean it every week, it's gonna be alright until I replace the gaskets properly. Okay, I'm gonna put the wheel back and move to the next repair. So that's the gearbox mount, and as you can see here, that bolt is supposed to be in that hole, and there's a missing nut, so we need to figure out how to put it back. I think that if I undo this bolt, this nut, lift up the gearbox, and then I'm just gonna align that bolt with the hole, and it should be good. Car jack to lift the gearbox higher. As you can see, it's a fair bit of the clearance, and unfortunately it looks like that arm is bent, so I'll try to bend it back without disconnecting it from the gearbox, because if I need to disconnect it from the gearbox, it's obviously more work. So let's see how I go. Unfortunately it doesn't work, so I'll need to remove the gearbox mount. Now I need to bend this piece to make sure that it's all aligned over there. Okay, so I was hoping that I would be able to bend the arm so it's aligned properly, but unfortunately I found that there is a crack over here. So, and it's going all the way through that weld too. So instead, we're gonna buy a new one. It is unfortunate because those engine mounts are not cheap, but it is what it is. So you'll notice that in this series, especially with this project, I'm going to be trying to buy only genuine Toyota parts, just because I know that most of the time they're better. They're actually sometimes cheaper than aftermarket parts, but the main thing is that they're more reliable and they last longer. In this case, I decided not to buy a genuine engine mount purely because of the time. The turnaround time for the engine mount from a Toyota is 1 week here in Australia. So I bought an aftermarket one. It still wasn't that cheap. I went with a brand called Calpro, and that engine mount was $220. Here we can see how much misaligned the old mount is. It's not even parallel to the bolts, and that's how it's supposed to be. Alright, so now we're going to install the new engine mount. After that we're going to put the wheel back, and I'm going to schedule another roadworthy inspection of the car, and hopefully it's going to pass it. I just found out that what I was doing wasn't exactly correct. So I was hoping that I could lift one side of the engine high enough so that I can fit the new engine mount, but I started jacking the engine up and I realized, well, the engine doesn't go any further. So I thought, oh, I'd better have a look what else is in there. I actually found out there's another engine mount at the front of the engine that is holding it down. So don't make my mistake. Basically, you'll need to remove the intake and this bolt for the engine, for the front engine mount. So as soon as I undone that, I could, let me just grab the light for you. I could easily fit in. There's enough clearance for this bolt to go inside of the gearbox. And I also, I didn't do any reading yet, but I had a look at that intake manifold. And I think that I know what that vacuum hose does. I actually noticed that there's a little vacuum controlled body with a screw on the side. Interesting.